Another twist in the race for New York City mayor. Accusations of election meddling.
Choosing to work with that administration with the intent of subverting the will of Democratic primary voters here in New York City, it's an affront to our democracy.
And denials from candidates that they're working with the White House.
I've never been promised a job with HUD. I have not communicated with the president.
Mr. President, I have one job and one job only that I see, and that is to become the next mayor of the city of New York.
And Andrew Cuomo remains focused on winning.
The opposition to Mamdani is a majority.
The PIX panel weighs in on it all. Roll the attack ads. Mikey Sherrill and Jack Ciattarelli both launching media campaigns as one of the closest governor races in New Jersey history kicks into high gear. And longtime Congressman Jerry Nadler to retire at the end of his term. His primary challenger, more than 50 years his junior, now feels this is his time to shine and make a case for a new generation to represent New York. Liam Elkins goes on the record when PIX on Politics starts right now.
This is PIX on Politics with Dan Mannarino.
And welcome to PIX on Politics, everybody. I am Dan Mannarino, and the race for New York City mayor is getting interesting. It's narrowing. It's a wild week. The independent longshot Jim Weldon dropping out this week, encouraging the remaining candidates to focus on defeating Zohran Mamdani. That leaves four men in the race for now. The Democratic frontrunner, Zohran Mamdani, of course, Andrew Cuomo, Republican Curtis Sliwa, and Mayor Eric Adams running on the independent line like Andrew Cuomo. But new reports this week really created a buzz, claiming President Trump's administration is making offers to Sliwa and Adams to stack the odds in favor of Andrew Cuomo in an effort to defeat Mamdani. Those reports have been denied by the candidates, but the future of the race, it is uncertain. And we have a team of reporters and analysts who have been tracking the very active campaign trail and the whiplash of a week. We're kicking things off with our PIX panel. And joining me this week, PIX 11 senior political reporter Henry Rossoff, professor at Mount St. Vincent University and host of Centered, a new podcast. Congrats on the podcast, Stacey Polanco, and political reporter and co-author of the New York Playbook, Jeff Colton. Great to have all three of you here.
Great to be here.
Everybody okay? Everybody okay?
Are you okay, Dan?
It's been a week. We got our phones close by because the updates are happening by the minute. Let's begin right now, guys, with the allegations of President Trump meddling in the New York City mayoral race. Sliwa and Adams both denying this. I spoke to John Catsimatidis about his phone call with the president, and he says, yeah, he does want it to become a two-man race, but stop short of saying who the president actually wants to step down. We heard that from the president himself. Henry, the president meddling now in a New York City election, unheard of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but so is this transcendent, unheard of candidacy from Zohran Mamdani, who the president derogatorily likes to call a communist. Let's begin with the very latest reporting. From the Adams campaign, a statement directly from the candidate himself, Mayor Eric Adams. He says no formal offer has been made at this time as we speak on Friday, but that he would always listen to potential calls to serve his country. So that's the first crack sort of in the language and the rhetoric that Mayor Adams using that maybe shows an openness to moving on. But on the Curtis Sliwa front, he's been consistent for some time. He said, even if the president called me, I would not tell him that I would step aside. Yeah. I'm running as the Republican.
I spoke to Curtis Sliwa on Thursday on PIX on Politics Daily. He said that I absolutely am not doing this. Let me play a soundbite from Eric Adams from my conversation with him earlier in the week about the fact that he may or may not drop out of the race. Be very clear, because I know you're staying in the race till November.
Dan, I said that over and over again, and it didn't satisfy you last month. It didn't satisfy you the previous month. It's not going to satisfy you
Mr. Mayor,
this month.
just to be fair, I did ask you a number of times if you were running as a Democrat, and you always said, yes, I am, and then you went independent.
No, Dan, I'm still a Democrat, Dan.
Basically, his story changes by the moment. So, Jeff, let me bring you in, because your reporting is very interesting about, which is matching with the New York Times' reporting, about a potential ambassadorship. Earlier in the week, it was a potential HUD position.
That's right.
That's changing by the day.
The reporting, I mean, to put it simply, is that everything is changing. There's lots of advisors around President Trump. Everybody is looking, scheming, thinking about basically how can you get Eric Adams a job to, help a political ally, and then also how can you help clear the field in order to better defeat Mamdani. And like you said, I mean, Trump, there were days of reporting, and then Trump just said it. He's like, yes, that is correct. I do want to clear the field. I want a one-on-one race. He didn't say who, but probably we're thinking it would be Andrew Cuomo because he's leading in the polls right now. He would likely have the best shot at defeating Mamdani. Not to say that that would be a guarantee by any means. I mean, its political dynamics are, difficult.
Right, and that's where the analysis comes in, JC, right? Because here we are, right? And Andrew Cuomo is saying, I don't know anything about this. I have no idea what President Trump wants, and I will be his foe. But
specifically saying he hasn't spoken
with the president, right? What do you make of all of this from your looking in as an independent, as the political analyst here?
I'm curious as to why President Trump would get involved, considering how incredibly wealthy it would be for Republicans next year in the midterm elections to have a Mayor Mamdani. Mayor Mamdani guarantees the margin of Democrats taking over the House is small. Mayor Mamdani scares the Senate Democrats in purple states. Mayor Mamdani guarantees a President Vance in 2028. And, the only reason I can think about is this. The polls are clear. Mayor Mamdani, Assemblyman Mamdani, still doesn't have half of New York City supporting him in any of these polls.
But no one does.
But we see that there is one candidate that does take it over when it's one-on-one. I know everyone likes to talk about that last week in June closed party primary as if it's the end all. We got to remind New Yorkers. New York is a lot bigger than just Democrats that vote in primary elections. Independents, Republicans, the Democrats that don't come out in every elections did not come out in this primary. Come out in November.
In fairness, JC, I did hear Andrew Cuomo say that yesterday. He said, and Henry was there for that press conference yesterday as well, that Andrew Cuomo said he didn't have the majority of New Yorkers. But again, no one did. And how come we should believe a poll?
What do you mean?
A two-person. The polls were wrong.
No, many of the polls, but yours was. I thought yours was bad, but yours ended up being good. Remember that? Oh, you remember that?
It's still the whole round thing that didn't play out. But polls are polls.
Polls are polls. Some are good, but when you look at all of them, it's clear. The Assemblyman Mamdani doesn't have the majority. And quite frankly, I just don't see a one-on-one against Assemblyman Mamdani, this city, looking at the mayoralty as on-the-job training for an assemblyman who, quite frankly, does not have any relevant experience for this
let's
position.
play that all the way
Seriously.
out, and let's play that all the way out, because I wonder about the president's motivations here. Seriously, because he's so overwhelmingly unpopular in New York City. So if he clears the field for Andrew Cuomo, and it looks like he cleared the field, whether or not Cuomo is involved, and Cuomo says no, but if that's what it looks like, how does that not help Mamdani, who's trying to paint this narrative? The first thing he said to you, Dan, when he spoke after his primary win, when you said, okay, who's your biggest threat, who's your biggest opponent? He said, President Trump, right? And now this looks like, oh, I was absolutely right to be taking on President Trump. This whole dare he made to debate Trump directly, this all feeds into the Mamdani narrative. That's not even analysis. That's just what his campaign is saying. So I don't know that this actually helps anyone besides Mamdani.
Let me ask you, Jeff, because you actually spoke to the mayor right after one of his events the other day about these whole potentials of dropping out. Has his wording, because the wording is very key here, you heard it in the statement, right? Has his wording changed when you were questioning him?
Yes, I mean, we're parsing it very closely, and I guess I need to have the caveat that, I don't know, maybe Eric Adams isn't even thinking as deeply as we are about what he's saying. But yes, he has gone from I am, totally running for re-election, I have not gotten a HUD job offer, to now like, oh, I've gotten a lot of job offers. He was proud of the fact that he's gotten job offers, in fact. He said, private sector, everyone loves how I run the city, so of course I've gotten job offers. So, I mean, frankly, what the mayor says is only half the story, too, because we're also knowing that he's having separate private conversations about his future. And as you said, I mean, the mayor's story is one thing firm, until it isn't, until it changes.
And to the point is because he came after your reporting and the New York Times reporting saying, wow, journalism has really changed in the standards of reporting. But when he was on our show, I flat out asked him if he met with the Trump administration on Monday, and he would not answer the question, and then it came out that he met with the Trump administration.
That's because you're a great reporter, Dan. But the truth is, politics makes strange bedfellows. Look, it's not that long ago where Republicans supported the Democrat and where Democrats supported Republicans. I remember Mayor Bloomberg running and having a bunch of Democrats supporting him. I remember Rudy Giuliani. I'm older than you guys here.
It's a different time.
Different times. And now what you have is that Andrew Cuomo is going to need a very large coalition, and that includes people that are independents, people that are disaffected Democrats, establishment Democrats, and maybe some people that like Trump in order to be able to take on Assemblyman Mamdani in November.
Let's not forget the fact Mamdani will also pick up some Republican votes. Not a lot, don't get me wrong, but I mean, voters do not always go by party. Voters are often irrational animals, actors.
In fact, if you look at some of the areas where Mamdani did well in the primary, that was Trump country, such that it is in New York City. Some of those little pockets, there were quite extreme overlaps there, which is very interesting, and that was all the affordability messaging.
The debate over debates. Okay, let's talk about this for a second, right? Okay, Zohran Mamdani committing to only the required 2 campaign finance board debates. That we put out a call to do a debate. Andrew Cuomo challenging him now to 5 debates. debates.
Nice.
So I asked Andrew Cuomo, why not do just a debate to coalesce, pick one person to coalesce against Mamdani? Here was our exchange.
Would you commit to doing a debate with Eric Adams and with Curtis Lee? Something that you previously said you would do without Mamdani on the stage.
No, I never said I would do it without Mamdani. He has to answer and explain his positions.
Is there something to be said, though, about doing a debate with the three of them, or is Mamdani required to be on the stage because it would be pointless to do without?
I would love to see Mamdani. I mean, of course, we're journalists. We want transparency.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Cuomo himself has set up this almost primary among the non-Mamdani candidates.
Right.
So if he truly believes in that, then yeah, he probably should follow through on this. He should be debating. He should be explaining why he is the one to take on Mamdani.
I don't know if it makes political sense considering these poll numbers. Every poll number you see, you have the mayor just dwindling down into single digits, and then no voter that's going to vote for Curtis Lee, who's active wearing that red beret, is going to vote for Andrew Cuomo. You've heard these two fighting on social media and everywhere. So it may be a complete waste of time unless Assemblyman Mamdani is present. I can see why there will be some hesitation there.
What I would say is that it hurts Cuomo because one of the things he was dinged for during the primary was not being open, not doing events, not doing forums. So if he was to say any place, anytime, anybody, it would at least complete this sort of pivot he's trying to make, being more open, more transparent. And also, let's just not forget the fact that he said he would do it. Now
but Henry, if he goes in a debate with Curtis Lewa and Mayor Adams, if you take a look at some of the stuff that's happening, it's all attack Cuomo. Curtis Lewa is not attacking it the other way around. It's all Cuomo all the time. So he goes in there, he'll be the piñata for the next 45 minutes with Dan.
Mamdani? It wouldn't be Mamdani?
No, if Mamdani's not on if Mamdani's not in the debate.
Gotcha. We got to leave it there. All three of you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a wild ride, okay? Jeff, good luck. Longtime New York Congressman Jerry Nadler retiring at the end of his term. His once primary challenger now taking center stage in the race for that seat during a critical midterm election. Liam Elkind joining me on the show right after a break.
You're watching PIX on Politics with Dan Mannarino.
And welcome back to PIX on Politics, everybody. So the majority of our focus remains on the upcoming November elections, but the 2026 midterms will be here before we know it, right? A critical point for both parties with a nearly evenly split House. This week, Congressman Jerry Nadler announcing he will not run for re-election. The 78-year-old congressman serving since 1992. He is the highest-ranking Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee, which will leave that highly respected position open after the midterms. Nadler's district, redrawn in 2022, remember that, covers both the west side and east side of Manhattan, and now that seat is really up for grabs. But prior to this big announcement, Nadler already had a challenger in 26-year-old Liam Elkind. The Upper West Side native and Rhodes Scholar co-founded a nonprofit to deliver necessities to at-risk people during COVID-19 pandemic. Now he has his eyes on Capitol Hill and bringing a new generation of leadership to Congress, and Liam Elkind is going on the record. Mr. Elkind, great to have you here for your first appearance.
This is super exciting. Thank you for having me.
So let me talk about this. When you announced your bid for Congress, you did call on Jerry Nadler to resign and step down. Do you think that put some pressure on him to do so?
I mean, it was wild. Like, when we announced, I didn't know if this was going to go anywhere. My brother took my headshots. My girlfriend made my logo. I'm a 26-year-old guy with no health insurance who has never served in elected office. And I asked my long-serving congressman, who I grew up voting for, to consider building a bridge to that next generation. And in one day, our launch video was viewed more than 3 million times.
Yeah.
We outraised an incumbent's entire war chest in one day, not taking a dime of corporate PAC money. And he answered the call.
Did you ever speak to him about this?
I spoke to someone who worked for him, but never to him personally.
And what was that conversation?
I just expressed my respect for his career. And I said, I have a lot of respect for the congressman's service, and I'm doing this out of respect and wanting to carry his legacy forward.
So why did you, at this point in time, say at 26 years old, like you said, with no prior experience, say, this is my time to run for Congress?
Well, look where we are, right? Donald Trump is coming for vote by mail. He's coming for voting machines he doesn't like. He's trying to gerrymander Democrats out of existence. He's kidnapping children off of our streets. I predict that there will be federal troops on our streets in the next year. And I think that in an existential moment like this one, we need an energetic response. And that looks like rethinking the way that we've been approaching politics. I mean, my background is not in politics. My background is as an organizer, as a nonprofit leader, recruiting thousands of volunteers at the height of the pandemic to bring food to people in need. And for months, if you reached out to your government and asked for help getting food, they would say to call my personal phone number. And the idea to me that our social safety net would rest on one guy remembering to pick up his phone felt ludicrous. I'm not a Kennedy, I'm not a Clinton, I don't have a legacy last name, I'm not the heir to a political dynasty. I'm just a guy who is sick of watching Democrats bring a plastic spoon to a gunfight and not stand up to this reckless, lawless president. And I think we can do better.
So what do you think of the Democratic Party as it is right now, and what needs to change?
I think that we need to be better organized. I think we need to be more generationally relevant. I think we need to be more reform-friendly, and I think we need to be ready to fight.
So when you look at what's playing out right now in the New York City mayor's race, right, Zohran Mamdani getting a lot of attention. First off, do you endorse anybody in this race?
Yeah, I've endorsed Mamdani.
Mamdani. So when you look at it right now, and what they're saying about him, are saying he is inexperienced and he is not the right man for the job at this point in time. You are younger than Zohran Mamdani, so you know you're going to face that criticism, right? What do you say to that?
Yeah, look, it's a reasonable question. I think a lot of people would have said that a 20-year-old trying to start a nonprofit and organize thousands of volunteers would be a ludicrous task. But you know what? We were able to do it, and we were able to do it more efficiently and more effectively than the people who we continue to send into these positions of elected office. I think just having held elected office is no longer sufficient to claim that you deserve to continue to hold elected office. If experience in politics meant that you deserve to continue to be in politics, I would have grown up under the presidency of Hillary Clinton. But I didn't. I think it takes new leadership with new visions to bring us forward into the 21st century. And as a member of the generation who's inheriting the future that our current leaders are creating for us, what gives me a little bit of hope is that it's also my generation that's going to be deciding what that future looks like.
Yeah, and Jerry Nadler, when he was in his statement, when he was saying I'm going to resign, was talking about ushering this new energy and this new blood into the party.
He was just a few years older than me when he was first elected, and he was still in law school. You know, and he has been a visionary leader for this community.
Yeah, but the point I wanted to make about that is, while they are ushering in the new energy and new blood, what does it say about the party when you have folks who still won't endorse the Democratic nominee for mayor of New York, high-ranking Democrats?
Yeah, I gave up trying to predict what the establishment does or why they do it a long time ago. But look, I think
it's the party you're part of. So it's the greater picture of what's wrong with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, look, I think that we have a problem in this party where we cannot build a big tent that has a big vision and puts points on the board. Instead, we're so focused on a narrow vision that struggles to really accomplish anything or gain any political power to get the things done that we want to. And I've said, look, if you disagree with Mamdani, that's fine. I disagree with him on a lot of stuff too. And where I disagree with him, I'll say so publicly. Where I agree with him, I'll be delighted to work with him. That's the job.
Yeah. Where do you disagree with him?
You know, for one, I think his refusal to condemn the phrase globalize the intifada, like as a Jew, I find it befuddling at the very least. But look, the differences are not what we're focused on. We move together as one. We are one party, and we have to act like it.
So given what's kind of happening right now as a whole, right, and you're looking at what's going on in Washington, D.C. and federal dollars that may or may not come to New York City, right, as a member of Congress, how would you effectively fight against that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just Trump, right? The MTA has 43% of mass public transit ridership in the country, and only gets 17% of federal funding for mass public transit. Imagine what we could do if we funded the MTA the way that we should.
How do you do it?
You fund it. You fight for it. And this is why we need democratic leadership to be actively fighting for the things that matter, not just in a kind of esoteric way, right, fighting for democracy. That matters too, obviously. But actually fighting for the things that impact people on the ground. As someone who rides the subway every day, you know, it shouldn't feel like something that we have to... I remember I was at a mayoral forum, and they asked the candidates, do you ride the subway? And they all said, yes, of course I ride the subway. I'm a real gritty New Yorker. And I was sitting there thinking, you shouldn't have to be a real gritty New Yorker to ride the subway. It should just be the best way to get around. We can have that if we fight for it.
Were you for congestion pricing?
I was for congestion pricing.
Yeah, you like the idea?
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a car. I just recently got my driver's license.
Yeah, and so now there's this whole idea also of the redrawing of the lines, right? And whether or not New York should do something much like Texas did. What do you think about it?
Absolutely.
Do it.
Absolutely. We're done showing up with it, like I said, with a plastic spoon at a gunfight. We're not fighting with one arm tied behind our back anymore. No way.
So what do you say then about the, well, if we didn't do it, then we should have done it now, and they're doing it now, so now we're going to do it, and the two wrongs make a right.
Don't get me wrong. This will cause immense damage. It will increase polarization. It will increase scleroticism of our system. It will be incredibly damaging, and it's the right thing to do. There are no more easy choices in this world. We have a president who's trying to kill this country, and we don't fight with one arm tied behind our back anymore.
Liam Elkind, it's a long way to the 2026 midterms. It's going to be a roller coaster of a ride, right, with who's going to be up against you. But I'm glad you were here for your first conversation.
Thanks very much.
Good to see you, okay? And up next, everybody, the New Jersey gubernatorial candidates on the attack. The first round of ads from both camps making the media rounds. A check on the campaign trail coming your way next. Big endorsements in the race for New Jersey governor. The Democratic mayor of Garfield switching parties, throwing his support now behind Jack Ciattarelli. And Mikey Sherrill got the backing of Newark Mayor Ross Baraka. Our Jim Vassell on the campaign trail.
With Labor Day in the rear view, all eyes are on November and the election of New Jersey's next governor. Democratic candidate Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, in a meet and greet on Wednesday in Newark, received one of her biggest endorsements yet, one from her former primary opponent and mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka.
I'm here endorsing the Congresswoman for the governor of the state of New Jersey.
I know that the only way we lose this race in New Jersey is if Democrats don't vote in New Jersey.
Her speech ranged from issues like home ownership to black maternal health. The Congresswoman also calling on Democratic voters to unite.
If we get divided, if we are not together, if we don't stand up for the things we believe in, the communities we want to serve, that's the only way we lose.
This after hitting the trail, making stops in recent days in South Jersey. Meanwhile, Republican candidate Jack Ciattarelli has hit the road, making a campaign stop on Wednesday in Somerville and earlier this week, Irvington and Long Valley. His biggest endorsement came in May from President Donald Trump.
It's time for a change. And a whole lot of people across the state of New Jersey feel the same way, and it's not just Republicans.
The former state assemblyman spoke with PIX 11 News on Wednesday, sharing his message to voters.
I want people feeling confident again that they can get the education of their dreams here, the job of their dreams here, raise a family here, start a business here, retire here. These are all the things that people feel insecure, if not fearful of today.
With the latest polls showing the Congresswoman leading by single digits, it's set to be one of the closest races in recent memory. It's also drawing national attention with just one other gubernatorial race happening in Virginia. In Newark, Jim Vassell, PIX 11 News.
And our thanks to Jim Vassell. And remember, coming up on Friday, October 3rd, I will sit down with both candidates at a forum over at Kean University. Be sure to send me your questions at dan@pix11.com. And with that, we'll be right back. Miss a minute, you miss a lot. We're here with you every step of the way. Thank you for watching another episode of PIX on Politics, everybody. We'll keep you posted on everything. I'm Dan Mannarino. Enjoy the rest of your day.